How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the feeder call. In our last video we showed you how to do the quack, just a nice baseline every duck hunter and or person trying to blow a duck call should know. You use it in so many different calls down the line that you just need to know it. So if you have not seen that video, I would recommend you go back after this one or go back now and watch and see how to make that quack noise and how to use your air and where to direct it from in order to call to the best of your ability. So today we are going to be covering the feeder call, and the feeder call is going to sound a little something like this. So that is about what the feeder call is supposed to sound like. And how do you produce that noise? Well, a lot of people are going to say, and I do not disagree whatsoever because this is still the way I do it, they're going to say ticka ticka, dugga dugga, or digga digga. Me personally, I like to go with dugga dugga. I feel like it's a little bit easier to roll off the tongue than those sharp I noises, when really it doesn't make the call sound all that different. So you're just going to be going dugga 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 dugga, and that will produce that feeder noise. And it doesn't need to be super fast like a machine gun. It doesn't need to be super slow. Me, I like to stay in that moderate speed. Some days a slower feed will work though, and that is why even when you're learning the feed, use it out in the field. Just like any other call though, don't be disappointed if you try and use it for the first time and you end up flaring duck off it. Because I remember when I was first starting to blow a duck call, and I would almost never even quack because it seemed like every time I did when I first started, it would flare a duck. But the only way you're going to get better is if you actually watch the ducks, make the calls you want to make, and see how they behave, if they react positively or negatively to it. So when you are using the feeder isn't necessarily the ducks eating. The feeder is actually what a ducks use for a spacing call. So when the ducks come into land, they are more often than not gonna start making that quick ticka 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 noise, or dugga dugga dugga, or digga digga digga, or the noise that you would be making. It just sounds like a feeder when they're making it, but it is more supposed to be a spacing call. I mean, ducks will still use it when they are feeding, but it is more so for the ducks to know where each other are at. It is not as much as, hey, there is food here. So it's kind of a deceiving name being called a feeder call, but at the same time, it's just so well known as that at this point, we're not going to try and change anybody's mind on it. So when you are doing your feeder again, you are going to want to do that ticka ticka, dugga dugga, or digga digga. When I was first learning the feeder, I would actually be walking around in my personal time or at work and just going dugga 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 dugga, just constantly. And some people will give you weird looks or ask you what you're doing, and I would always just tell them I'm trying to learn how to blow my duck call. So how would you use the feeder in a sequence? So this is where the quack comes into play. You very rarely want to use the feeder by itself. You usually want to use it in conjunction with something. So honestly, the quack and the feeder are my two most used duck calls to date. If I cannot land a duck with a quack or a feeder, I feel like I'm doing it wrong, because it is just that consistent and works that well. So here is a quick demonstration of how I would work the feeder into the quack. So that is about how I would work the feeder into a quack. You don't want to use it for a super prolonged amount of time. Otherwise, even if your feeder does sound good, you could still flare a duck because you're just making the same noise over and over again. When you are talking to somebody, what are you going to do? Are you just going to say, hi, 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 hi? No, you're going to say, hi, how's it going? I'm doing this. And that is what you are doing when you join the quack and the feeder in quick successions. hi, I'm doing this. Hey, there's ducks landing over here. Hey, there's food. Hey, we're all over here. Hey, watch out for me. I'll watch out for you. That is what doing the quack with the feeder is kind of telling a duck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Nice little short, sweet. And again, it's just digga digga, dugga dugga, or ticka ticka. Just do that, and eventually you will get the feeder down. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.